All right, let me just try to get this a little bit more in focused and zoom in. I'm just going to jump through and do a couple problems with you guys. I'm going to start with number 4. And since we are factoring trinomials when a is greater than 1, the first thing I'm going to do is multiply this 2 and this 3. So 3 times 2, and I'm going to get 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write that at the top of my x. So a 6. And then I'm going to look and see that my middle brother is a negative 7. So I'm going to bring that down. And then what I want to do is I want to think of, hey, what multiplies to a positive 6, but when I add it, adds to a negative 7. And if I think about that, that would be negative 1 and negative 6. Okay, so these are my 2 items that split this middle term right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have 3x squared minus 1x, that one from there, and I add an x to it, minus 6x, that 6 from there, because I'm splitting the middle term, right? I'm no longer using the 7. And I put an x next to it, and then a plus 2. From here, now I'm going to factor by grouping. And I'm going to look for my GCF. Well, the only number that goes into both of those is 1. However, they do both have an x in common, so I'm going to factor that x out. So I'm going to have x, 3x, minus 1. All right, and then over here, oh, look, that third term is negative, so I'm going to factor out a negative. And I'm going to also see that they both divide into 2. So I'm going to factor out a negative 2. I'll end up with 3x minus 1. And look, I have matchy-matchy parentheses. So all I do is I take my first term or my 2 GCFs, and I have x minus 2 in one set of parentheses, and 3x minus 1 in another set of parentheses. So that's that one. All right, now I'm going to jump down and do let's do number 8. Okay, so again, I'm going to take these 2 terms and I'm going to multiply them. I'm going to get negative 48. And I'm going to bring down, should have drawn my x first, my middle brother that nobody likes, a positive 2. And I'm going to think, oh, what multiplies to a negative 48, but when I add them together, adds to a positive 2? Well, that would be a negative 6 and a positive 8. And those 2 terms are the ones that split my middle term, right? When I add those together, I actually end up with a positive 2. So I'm going to rewrite my problem, 3x squared minus 6x plus 8x minus 16. So I just went ahead and took the 2 numbers that I factored out, and I'm going to now factor by grouping. So I'm going to look here and I'm going to think, what multiplies into both of these? And it would be a 3x. So I would be left with an x. 3 divided by 3 would be a 1. x2, taking 1x away, would just be 1x minus 2. All right, over here, I would look and think what I could take out. And the only thing I could take out is an 8, a plus 8. So I would be left with an x and a minus 2. And if I look, my parentheses are matchy-matchy, so I'm in luck. So I have a 3x and a positive 8 in one parenthesis, and I have an x minus 2 in the other parenthesis. Okay, so right here, number 9, I'll jump to now. It says factor by GCF. Well, all I can do is pull out the greatest common factor, and okay, so I'm going to come back here and I'm going to look and I'm going to see that, they both go into 8, so I'll factor out an 8. And then they both have an x and a y, but I have to take the x and the y with the smallest exponent. So out comes an x and out comes a y. Well, 8 divided by 8 is just 1. And then x squared, and if I'm taking one of those x's away, I just have an x left. And y squared, and if I take one of those y's away, I only have a y left. Well, next up is negative 24. So that would be negative 3, right? Negative 24 divided by 8 is negative 3. I've taken that x out, so I can't use that x, but I can use 2 of the y's, because y cubed, and take one of those y's out, you have 2 y's left. And then plus 16 divided by 8 would be 2. And I've taken both of those x and the y's out. So those would go away. And this would be my answer. All right, I just factored out the GCF. On this back side, let's go over this one right here. So remember, that's technically 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. So I would just go ahead and use my magic box, or the box method, or FOIL, whichever you're more comfortable with, 2x plus 1, 2x and 1, and I would have 4x and 2, 4x squared and 2x, and I would have 2x, and I would have 1. And I would see, oh gosh, I can combine those two terms, so it would be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. All right, we're going to talk about later. This is going to be a perfect square trinomial. And I feel like that's a good amount of problems. This one, you would just set up a bigger box. I'm not going to do it all for you, but I will show you how. So n and then negative 9, n squared, 4n, and negative 10. And then you would multiply. All right, guys, that's it for homework 8.6. Go ahead and do the rest on Go Formative and have fun.